Welcome to Woke House YouTube channel. In the last video, we discussed the Four Noble Truths, what Buddha realized under the Bodhi tree. So, just to recap, the Four Noble Truths is that life is suffering, that suffering is actually caused by our attachment. The third Noble Truth is there can be an end to suffering or an end to attachment. And the fourth Noble Truth is the Eightfold Path. And that's kind of a lifestyle to eliminate attachment and suffering. That's right concentration, right livelihood, right thought, right speech, not creating the karma that would cause suffering in your life. It's kind of like planting seeds, planting positive seeds so that you have a positive harvest instead of planting negative seeds where you have a negative karma where you're in pain and suffering because of your own actions. So the Fourth Noble Truth, the Eightfold Path, is more about being conscious of your actions so that you don't create any more suffering that needs to be. But let's back up to the first and second Noble Truth, that life is suffering and that suffering is caused by our own attachment, our own desires, our own thirst, our own being unable to get out of our own way. And so I don't know if you've ever had this situation where you've gotten up in the morning and you've gone and brushed your teeth, made your coffee, got dressed, maybe made a lunch to bring to work, and before you walked out the door you suddenly realized like you haven't even been in the present moment since you woke up. You woke up with your head spinning with thoughts and you let those thoughts carry you away, and so you basically were on autopilot. You brushed your teeth on autopilot, you got dressed on autopilot, you made your coffee on autopilot. Your body was just doing muscle memory, but you were totally lost up in your head. This has happened to me numerous times. And then there's this feeling of waking up like, oh my God, like where have I been for the last 20 minutes? I've been all up in my head and not here in the present moment. This happens to me less frequently as I practice mindfulness, paying attention to the sound of the stirring of the coffee or the sound of the water or the taste of the toothpaste or anything I can do to bring me in the present moment. This past weekend I was hiking in a park and I was around beautiful things, a beautiful river and beautiful trees, and I was even with my beautiful wife. But I noticed I had this waking up moment where have I been for the last 5 minutes? Well, my body was walking on the trail, but in my mind I was replaying or actually creating this conversation with somebody from the past, and it wasn't even a scenario that was real. I created this whole scenario of sitting down and eating a pancake with somebody, and they were somebody from my past, and I was telling them something what I had, may have wanted to tell them at some point and never had a chance to. And then they said this, and then I said this, and I said this, and it was totally useless headspace. Like there was no reason to even have this daydream of this thing happening. There was no outcome. The conversation was never going to happen in real life. Even if I did set up that conversation, it would be pointless. It was just basically my mind, creating this alternative reality where I was having this conversation with this person. And meanwhile, I'm missing the deer, I'm missing the river, I'm missing the leaves, I'm missing being present with my wife. And I had this awakening moment like, holy crap, where have I been for the last 5 or 10 minutes? I've been in my head eating pancakes with this person from my past that was just basically pointless. to waste all that energy on useless, daydreaming. And so I feel like Buddha, part of his awakening under the Bodhi tree and coming up with the Four Noble Truths, I think a small aspect of it is probably that he realized that he himself had spent numerous, like how much time of our life is lost in these daydreams. Buddha realized, and we talked about him remembering as a kid at a certain plowing ceremony, he was in the present moment and he could smell the earth being plowed and he saw the worms and he saw all these things and he was fully present in the moment and not lost in these daydreams. And so a part of his awakening had to be that feeling that I feel in the morning when I realize I've brushed my teeth and gotten dressed without being conscious of it. That feeling that I had on the trail when I woke up and said, oh my God, I haven't seen any of my surroundings because I've been in my head eating pancakes with somebody. That had to be a small aspect of his awakening, his experience of we lose so much of our lives by paying attention to our thoughts instead of our present moment. In this present moment, there is no suffering. In this present moment, I have a roof over my head. I have people that love me. I have, I'm fortunate enough to have some food in the refrigerator. All these things, you don't even need those material things. But what I'm trying to say is I'm not being attacked. I'm not being threatened. I'm not being abused right now. If I look around, things are okay. Things are okay. Right now, right here, things are all right. I'm not in danger of my life. So there's no need to create all these scenarios in my head that take me out of this present moment. It's okay to just be here now. It's okay. So one of the things that I practiced on this little nature retreat that I went on was I found the delete button in my head. And so whenever these thoughts would arise like that, I would picture in my mind a computer screen with a delete button on it. And with my mind, I would take the cursor, the mouse, and I would click the delete button. And so when the thought of eating pancakes with somebody came up in my mind, quickly I would go to the delete button and I would actually see it. I would hear the click, click, click. I would hear the swoosh of that memory or that thought taken off. And I just practiced that over and over. Every time a thought arose, some meaningless thought that I didn't need arose in my consciousness, I would immediately go to that delete button, click, click, click. Swoosh, 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 and that thought, that memory, that daydream, whatever would disappear, and I'd be back in the present moment. So, this is praying that all of us find the delete button. Namaste.